everyone, welcome back to Dila's Kitchen. So I am super excited today because it means that we are starting our sourdough bread today, meaning that we are ready for baking. So in order to have a strong, reliable starter, what I do the day before I bake, I feed my starter twice. So I'll do a 12-hour feeding, which is 7 in the morning, 7 in the evening, whatever suits you. So I'm adding my filtered water to my bowl, adding my starter to my water. Using a bread whisk, you can use any whisk, normal whisk, you can use your clean hand, you can use a wooden spoon, and I'm just quickly whisking it. Mix this so the yeast can get distributed. My flour, I add half, and then I add my salt, and I make sure I go in and whisk. Adding the rest of the flour, and we just keep on whisking. Just mix it until there's no more dry flour left. We're going to cover the bowl and leave it for 30 minutes, allowing the gluten formation to develop. So we're doing 3 sets of stretch and folds with 30-minute intervals. The first stretch and fold will be very sticky, so I'll be using wet hands. I just want to wet my hands, and I'm doing the first stretch and fold, pulling the dough and stretching it back into itself. So we just do quarter turns on the bowl. There are 4 sides to your dough, a north, south, east, and a west. And we're only doing this like 4 times. We are doing our third and final stretch and fold. I didn't record the second one because the video will be too long. This is the last stretch and fold. Our dough is a lot smoother now, as you can see, and easier to handle. We're going to cover this, allow it to rise until it's double in size. This can be anything from 2 to 6 hours in a warm place, and then we'll come back and show you what's the next step. So our first bulk rise is done. This was exactly 3 hours. As you can see, it's double in size, it's light and airy, and there's bubbles on top. It's jiggly, so we are ready to start with our shaping. Transferring my dough onto a lightly floured surface. It's quite sticky, and now you don't need wet hands. You just need a bit of flour, but not a lot of flour. And I'm just dumping it. We're doing 2 sets of shaping. This is the pre-shaping, and I'm just stretching the dough into a rectangle. And then we fold it over, almost like an envelope. Then we roll it from the top, pushing it over itself. So this is just the pre-shaping. Some people don't do pre-shaping, so this is entirely up to you. To cover this, leave it for 20 to 30 minutes, then we come back and do the final shaping. I just quickly remove the silicone mat. We are doing our final shaping, so pre-shaping and final shaping is the same. And I'm just doing the final shaping. I just quickly want to do the cupping motion. So just roll it into a tight ball. This is your proofing basket, which is a Banneton basket, and I'm just adding some flour to it. If you don't have a Banneton basket, I'll show you. what you can use. Adding it to your Benetton basket, seam side up, and you stitch it. Close it up. Covering up my bread, and I prefer using plastic. This is going into the fridge overnight for our second bulk fermentation. If you don't have a Benetton basket, you can use one of these baskets or a Tupperware or a glass bowl, just with a normal kitchen towel. Add flour to your kitchen towel, your dough, and then just close it up and put it in the fridge. As easy as that. Good morning. It is the next day and I have my Dutch oven pot here, which is going into the oven 220 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes. We need a very hot vessel for our bread. I just removed my dough from the fridge, and this was the overnight second bulk rise. You don't have to do the overnight second bulk rise. After your first bulk rise, you can put it in the oven and bake your bread. I prefer to put it in the fridge overnight. It just holds its shape better after the cold fermentation. Before you start scoring, you need a square piece of parchment paper. So I've cut mine out, so it's just easier to remove it from the hot pot. So this is a normal silicone mat that I just cut out, and I'll be using this as a bread sling. I'm adding flour to my sling. So this is basically just going onto your bread sling, like that. And then we add flour to it. So I have one of these blades or razors, and I have this one as well. I've got a piece of string. So the piece of string is basically just a guideline, because now you just play around with patterns. So you can do this with a knife as well. The other blade, and I do that is just the shallow cuts. Now I do a deep cut on the side. Move my pot from the oven. It's very, very hot. My bread's going into the oven, the Dutch oven, covered for 30 minutes, 220 degrees Celsius, and then uncovered for 15 to 20 minutes until it's golden brown. I just removed my bread from the oven, and this is what I say, the sling really helps a lot. I just want to remove the pot, so you want to hear that hollow sound. So these are the shallow cuts I made, and this was the deep cut that I made. So the reason why we score our bread is just to release some steam from the sourdough. So look at this beautiful crunchy layer on the outside. We're going to leave the bread to cool down completely for an hour. I know that's very tempting because you can't wait when you smell this bread. But if you cut it too soon, a lot of moisture will escape and it will get dry a lot faster, even if you put it in an airtight container or in a Tupperware. So let's just wait for an hour and then we'll come back and we'll cut the bread. Okay. So the best way to cut your sourdough bread is right through in the middle. And I cut it this way, and this is just easier. And we have a pig. So the benefits of sourdough bread, it has less gluten than normal bread. It won't spike your blood sugar as much. it absorbs better, and it's easier for our bodies to digest. And this is our sourdough bread and our sourdough journey I took you on, and there you have it. So in the case of bread, what we've overlooked is the importance of a slow sourdough fermentation. This is bread that are not processed, and also being able to bake a gut healthy sourdough bread is such a nice thing to do. We think of sourdough as a style of bread, but it's the traditional way all breads was made. My family are bread lovers, and it's a pity I didn't know about sourdough bread earlier, because sourdough bread is very filling, and it's the oldest form of leavened bread, and bread is the universal love language. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook. The link and the recipe will be in the description. And don't forget to hit that like button on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you for watching, and God bless.